Welcome to Travelscope with Joseph Rosendo, where each week you join us as we accept the world's invitation to visit.
Today on Travelscope, I get on island time and enjoy the laid-back lifestyle on the beaches and bays of Aransas, Texas.
Travelscope is made possible by DK Eyewitness Travel Guides. DK City, Country, and Driving Guides feature evocative photos, 3D mapping, and illustrations for key sites and travel itineraries. DK Eyewitness Travel Guides, the guides that show you what others only tell you. And Rosetta Stone, changing the way the world learns languages.
Aransas is the only town on 18-mile-long Mustang Island, one of the Texas barrier islands. Located at the natural entrance from the bay into the Gulf of Mexico, it is also unique in that while only 153 miles from San Antonio, when you drive off the free 5-minute ferry from the mainland, you say adios to Texas and yaman to island time.
Here's another unique thing you can do in Aransas. That is drive on the beach. It's only possible to do so in a few places in the country. You can take a street legal vehicle and come out on the beach. The roads are nice, or I should say the beach is nice for driving on. And for only $12 a year, you can get a parking permit, which allows you to camp on the beach for 3 days absolutely free. You can also picnic. You can even have alcoholic beverages on the beach if you don't have a glass container. Yeah, they work real hard here in Aransas so that you will have a good time. We're here on Aransas Beach. I'm with Jamie Elwood. Why do you call it Third Coast?
Well, the East Coast and the West Coast names were taken, so we're the Third Coast.
This is the Third Coast.
This is.
And how long have you been out here in Aransas?
11 years. My dad moved down here in '91, and I was visiting him for spring breaks and coming for the summer, and decided I didn't want to leave on you.
One important part of the Aransas experience is fun on the sand in the sun. Well, this is fun in the sand in the sun with Mark Landrum, who is the Aransas sandcastle guy.
Yes, I teach people how to build a better sandcastle. You got to put your hands up in the air like this. Can you do that?
Yeah.
You got to yell, ta-da!
Ta-da!
If you don't do the ta-da, it all falls down.
Well, yeah, okay.
With the waters surrounding Aransas teeming with sea life, you can expect to find tasty seafood in eateries that run the gamut, from fine dining to fun dining.
For years, food has been getting the better of me. Here in Port A at Crazy Cajun, I get to fight back. And the winner is the food. You know, this is a fun restaurant, obviously, and I know Aransas has a reputation as being a place for people to come to have a great time. Has it always been like that?
Well, actually, the season used to start around Easter weekend, but now we seem to have moved in more or less of a year-round season with a lot of winter Texans coming in. And they come down here in the RVs and stay at the local condominiums and such.
That's because the weather here is always warm.
You can enjoy Port A's 250 days of sunshine from the balcony of a condo, a Caribbean-style beach cottage, or the porch of a famous hotel, like the historic Tarpon Inn, where presidents once stayed.
Aransas has more than bars and beaches. It also has art. The first Friday of every month, the Art Center for the Islands hosts a reception that kicks off their new exhibit and is attended by the artist community and the community at large, and visitors are invited too. Now, what about Aransas makes it a special place for an artist?
It's like being up in the mountains of Colorado. It's that small town. Great hangout place. You got the beach, you got boats, you got fishing. What else do you need?
Are you from this area?
I grew up in Colorado.
Oh, well, what brought you here?
Bad knees for being a ski bum.
Port A's shops, bars, and restaurants lure fun-loving tourists with what the Chamber of Commerce calls Texas Island Style.
Teresa's bringing me a free beer for putting a lampshade on my head. What's this?
Bug spray.
Bug spray. Here in Port A, you get a beer and bug spray at the same time. It is the beach. Thank you.
While the island folks party, I rest up for a sunrise outing to the Lighthouse Lakes Trail, the first of 26 paddling trails created in Texas.
It's such a surprising area here in Port Aransas. How'd you get here, Hector?
Well, I came down here in 1992 on spring break and blew the motor on my car and never quite made it back. But I was kind of happy that the car blew up. It put me in a place that is my new home. I'll never leave here again. It's just...
What do you like most about it?
It's just so relaxing and
tranquil. It's great. Well, this is obviously one of the landmarks here, Hector.
Yeah, this is our 1857 Lydian lighthouse. During the later months of the Confederate War, the Confederate troops tried to blow it up. Union forces eventually took it over. The lighthouse became a state lighthouse, and now it's privately owned.
That's cool.
And up ahead's a crab trap there. Let's take a look at it. I bet they won't mind. We have lots of great fishing here, all kinds, even crab fishing. It's not reserved just for Alaska. Looky there.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, beautiful, Texas blue crab.
So the fish stocks are still pretty good here.
Oh, fantastic. Some of the best in Texas. All right, guys. See y'all at dinner. Hey, Joe, you like oysters?
I love oysters.
Great. Come here, I want to show you something.
What do you got?
It looks like we actually got a live oyster bed here.
Wow.
There you go.
You can eat those?
Yes, you can. And any given one could have a pro in it.
Look at that.
So for the seafood lover and the treasure hunter.
You know, Hector, every time I come to Texas, I discover something that surprises me. So thank you for bringing me out here and adding to my long list.
You bet. It's been my pleasure.
Surprising and informing students about the great undersea world that surrounds Port Aransas and Mustang Island is the primary purpose of the Katy, a research vessel associated with the Marine Science Institute of the University of Texas at Austin. I joined a group of Rhodes scholars on one of the Katy's scientific bay cruises. Rita Pearson is in charge of the Rhodes scholars that are on board. These guys are hitting the road all the time.
They do.
And they're learning as they're traveling.
That's our focus, is educational fun.
That's fabulous. This is something that's available for people who come and visit?
Educational groups come on the Katy.
This is for the baby boomer over 50 crowd?
Yes, it is. And if you happen to want to bring a guest along who's not quite 50, they can come too.
That's all right. They're allowed.
We're going to start our sampling routine out here by looking at some of the smaller forms of life. This is a plankton net. It's kind of shaped like an ice cream cone. We're going to drag this behind the boat for about 4 or 5 minutes, and organisms that are too big to flow through the holes get caught in the cup of the net.
You are the education specialist. In fact, you developed this program where people learn about the diversity and the abundance out here.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to start this program in 1974.
Fabulous. You know what amazes me? We have these great barrier islands that protect this, well, cradle of life here.
Yes.
From what's going on out in the Gulf.
Yes, yeah.
Oil spills, storms, whatever it may.
This part of the coast is completely different from the coast that people have heard about from the hurricanes in Galveston and Louisiana area, because we have the presence of these barrier island systems, and these islands provide these sheltered bays and lagoons and the richness of life around here. They protect it from things that happen out in the Gulf.
Well, we're really interested in finding out what is below the surface here.
By the end of the day, you're going to have a very good understanding of the diversity and abundance of life in these coastal bay systems and why it's so rich and diverse here. So we drug this on the surface for about 4 minutes. What do you predict we're going to get in here? A lot of stuff or not much?
Not much.
Not much? We got this much out of 50 cubic meters of water. The ship channel from here to Corpus holds 360 million cubic meters. This starts our marine food web down here. This is why we have the fishing. This is why we have the birds. This is why we have the people coming to Port Aransas. Just in a couple of drops of water. This is a permanent shrimp. He won't get big enough to hit on the dinner plate, but he's important here. You see the diatom on edge? So it looks like a rectangle. We tell the kids this is the crunchy stuff they swallow when they're swimming, and they make a face, and we try to explain to them that the largest animal that's ever lived on Earth is alive today. It's a blue whale, and it feeds primarily on plankton.
Has to eat a lot of plankton.
This is the primary producers, the beginning of the marine food web. Now we're going to talk about how organisms in the sediment here help cycle these nutrients. And then we're going to look at the larger organisms that feed at these different levels and hopefully tie this together. What we just did was take a sample of the bay bottom. This is called the benthos, B-E-N-T-H-O-S. It's one of those $10 words meaning mud. And we're looking at the benthic, infauna, and epifauna, those plants and animals that live in and on the surface of the mud. The role of this benthic invertebrate, the life in here, is to cycle these nutrients. Why would you want to have earthworms in your garden? What does it provide?
Fertilizer.
Fertilizer how?
By the waste of the earthworm.
Earthworms basically eat the sediment, chemically change it, and poop it out, and somebody else uses that.
Right.
Okay, they alter it. These worms and clams and snails and shrimp do the same thing. This is a neighborhood or a community, and just like in your neighborhood at home, if people move in and out, the character of your neighborhood changes. Who lives here over time indicates to us whether this is a healthy or a stressed environment. So we're going to dump this trawl out and see who crawls out. Here we have a fish. Typical fish shape. What tells you most about a fish down here is the position of the mouth and whether the mouth has teeth or no teeth on it. This little fish, long body shape. Look at the mouth on this dude. Huge funnel-shaped mouth. Now, if you make him say ah, what you see are no teeth, but you see long hairs on the gills. How do you think he makes a living out here? What would he feed on? Plankton. Okay, this is the bay anchovy. This guy gets his energy from the plankton, which gets their energy from the sun. The bird gets their energy from eating this guy. That's a simplified version of this marine food web here.
You know, you talk about fish who live and eat and poop, and that all settles to the bottom. But what about pollution? Does that settle to the bottom too and affect the life of the area?
They call that non-point source pollution. It's runoff from cities. One of the reasons this area from here south is so still considered to be pristine and clean is there's very little people living here.
So the challenge is in places where there are urban populations creating an environment that's like this one.
It is a challenge for them to keep what runs in from dry land clean and not having an adverse impact on the environment. We've seen some great changes, so
that's great.
People are working hard to keep what we have and to make it better.
One of the passengers aboard the Katy here today is Cheryl Wilson. She's a 6th grade science teacher, and you're going to bring your students out on one of these?
Right, we have them scheduled in about 3 weeks for a tour. Some of the samples that we brought in today, I'm going to take back to school, and it makes it far more real to them, and then they appreciate it, protect it more, and want to learn more about it.
As a teacher, you continue to retain your wonder and your surprise about life and things like this.
Oh, definitely. That's the joy of science, is there's always another new thing to learn, another corner to look around, or a rock to turn and find something you never saw.
While the Katy is limited to educational groups, the Dolphin Watch and Nature Tour is a way for all to discover the natural beauty and ecological richness of the Port Aransas area.
The number one question when you come on a dolphin watching tour is, how do you find the dolphins?
Well, we have a route. We go out by the Gulf, down by the lighthouse. We just hang out with them when we find them.
People like to say that about dolphins. They like to put on a show. Is that true?
Well, a lot of people have ideas about dolphins, but a lot of them are true. They do love to come up to the boat and roll around and look at everybody.
Well, they're certainly wonderful to watch. How long have you lived here in the area?
Well, I grew up here.
Oh, you did?
Yes, sir.
Things have changed here since you grew up, haven't they?
Oh, a bunch, yeah.
But it's still, I understand, a kind of a wild, pristine area with not too many people.
That's correct. We have a lot of visitors, but few residents. So a lot of fishing people, you know.
Fishing people have dubbed Port A the fishing capital of Texas. And every morning, boatloads of visitors and their guides ply the local waters. At daybreak, I head off with Frankie.
So what are we going for today, Frankie?
We're going to target redfish. We're going to go up and fish the flats. They're a pretty aggressive feeder. If he sees it, smells it, or hears it, he'll eat it.
How long have you been doing this, Frankie?
I've actually been a professional for about 7.5 years.
Right. What were you doing before?
I was a UPS driver.
Oh, this is a little different.
A lot different, a lot less stress.
Is it just trial and error for you to pick the place that you're going to fish?
The wind is the most major factor we have. And we use different baits different times of the year. Oh, there you go. Go pick it up, point it down, and reel it as fast as you can. Hammering, yank. There you go. Keep that rod tip up above your eyes. And all you want to do, if you'll move this below your waist, and all I want you to do is keep that rod bent and keep that rod tip above your eyes. Oh, yeah.
He's starting to run now.
He's close. They've got to be 20 to 28 inches, and he's going to be right there on the edge.
Whoopee!
He's 23 1/4. Scored!
We got, what do we, how big, what does he weigh?
There is a scale on there. I'm figuring he probably weighs about 3 pounds.
Yeah, it says 4.
Okay, well, I was close.
Dinner tonight. That's just where the fish are. They're right off this island.
With the way the wind and the current are pulling that water around, they may be coming around that side of that island.
Well, I'm going to stand by it.
Oh, well, you know, you won't catch one standing by it. It never works that way. It's kind of the old, hey, a watch pot never boils. There you go, right there next to you, the green one, the green one. Reel as fast as you can. Keep reeling, you ain't caught up to him. Keep reeling, keep reel. Keep reeling, you ain't caught up to him. You still hadn't caught up to him. Now you have hammering. There you go. And that rod is made for 2 reasons, to wear him out and to keep him away from the boat if need be. Lay that rod down. We've got all day. I tell you, how come you're breathing hard? Slow down. Oh, a good guide would have had him the first stab. That's good right there. Let me have a little line to work with. Is your adrenaline pumping? He may not be that 27, but I bet he'll go 24, 25.
Wow.
Now, I try to make a point to show people, you know, everything out here, and down in his throat, he's got teeth just before his stomach. And that's what he uses to grind up crabs and shells. And I had a biologist on the boat one day, and he called them pharyngeal teeth. And so now I know what they are.
Yeah,
so
right.
he taught me, and so I'm teaching whoever's on the boat.
This is no more than just coming out and having a good time. It's an educational experience as well.
Well, I try to deal with all the aspects of this. If it was just about the fish, you might as well go to the fish market. Go get the back one.
Oh, there it is again.
Don't take it away from him. We'll see if he keeps going. All right, reel it as fast as you can. Keep reeling.
What? He's slipping? He's slipping?
There you go. Got him.
Woohoo.
All right, that's a limit.
That's it.
3. That's all you can have.
This is good, man.
Life is good.
Thank you. Life is good.
Oh, man, I've got a great life going on.
Your next seafood dinner can be as fresh as your latest catch. While my fish is being prepped for tonight's feast, I check out the Port Aransas jetty to see how the other fishing people are doing.
What are you fishing for?
We're fishing for some redfish, flounder, speckled trout, or maybe some Spanish mackerel if they'll come around.
How's it been going?
Oh, it's been going pretty good. Everybody's been catching out here, and it gets pretty good out here in this area.
You know what they say about fishing? A bad day of fishing is better than any day at work.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, y'all have a good one.
Yay! You bred him, or any special recipes? No?
Butter and lemon is good enough.
That's good enough. Well, I agree with you.
While less is often more, there are many ways to cook fish. Catch in hand, I head to the experts at Trout Street Bar and Grill to see what they propose for my trout and redfish.
I love the fact that here at Port Aransas, catch it, bring it to you, and you'll cook it.
Yes, sir. Cook the catch of the day as long as it's fresh, caught, clean, ready to go for you.
Fabulous. Let's get going.
All right, we're going to take 3 good-sized fillets here. You shouldn't eat real butter this way every day, but every now and then it's not bad. It's not going to hurt you.
The way you're cooking is going to keep that fish nice and moist inside.
Yes, it is. So what we'll do now is we're going to take a little bit of our Parmesan. We're going to sprinkle that on top of that butter.
That might be my favorite, Chef.
We're going to pass this on down the line. Now we have our nice speckled trout. And with trout, because it is a very mild fish, you really don't want to over-season it.
Why kill it? Let's taste the fish.
Exactly. And all we're going to do is take these fillets and dredge them in a little bit of seasoned flour. That's going to give it a real nice, light little crust on there.
Oh, that's going to be nice.
All right, the final way I'm going to suggest that we do our last of our redfish is just simply grill it.
Okay. Well, Chef, I'm going to leave you to cooking.
Right,
what I'm going to do is go sit at the table and get my appetite out, although you've already whetted my appetite. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Thank you, Chef.
Yes, sir. Enjoy.
You know, they've told me here in Port Aransas you can get anything you want, and that includes fish any way you like it. Bon appetit, y'all.
Cheers.
As we learned on the Katy, where there's fish, there's birds. And just like the people, in Port Aransas, there are many that come to visit, and some stay for a lifetime. At the Leona Bell Turnbull Birding Center, one of several birding sites on Mustang Island, I catch up with avid birder Rita of Rhodes Scholars.
What are you looking at, Rita?
I'm looking at northern shovelers, blue-winged teals, the group of avocets that came in out there, and some double-crested cormorants.
How many species of birds do you get here?
Over 400.
I know why the people come here, because of the sun and the sand and all that. What about the birds? Why do they like it so
The birds
well?
come here for the water and the food.
How many sites like this do you have here in Port Aransas?
We have 5 that are on the Great Texas Coastal Birding Trail.
What's that?
It's a coastal birding trail that runs up and down the entire coast of Texas, and you can get a map from the state, and they mark all the best spots in Texas. This is a world-class birding spot.
Well, I can see why. With rich habitats that include wetlands, inlets, and 18 miles of beaches and dunes, watching birds is serious business on Port Aransas and Mustang Island. Tony Amos has been keeping an eye on them for more than 30 years.
Try and count them in blocks, 17, 18, 19, 22, 4, 6, 8. Fortunately, most of them are laughing gulls.
Now, the purpose to count them?
So I started doing this when I first came here, just to see what kind of birds there were. And my idea was to see how human development might affect the bird population.
I see.
So I thought, well, as I'm doing this, I might as well keep doing it as long as I can.
How long is that?
34 years.
So you've been counting birds on this beach for 34 years?
Actually, yes, just a little bit less, 33. Wow. You know, when I first came here, the brown pelicans were still suffering from DDT.
Right.
So the pelicans have come back, but other birds have virtually gone. The birds like red-knot have declined considerably.
Why is that?
Almost all of the world's populations for red-knot stop off in Delaware Bay, and they feed on the horseshoe crab eggs. Recently, however, fishermen are taking horseshoe crabs to use as bait, so they're actually being affected by something so distant.
So we are connected.
What I see in doing this for a long time, I see these birds that aren't very common because they come through for a few days and then they're gone. They're in migration. When the sanderlings come here, they establish territory, and although they look like there might be thousands of them milling around, that one just chased off another one from his territory. Laughing gulls, of course. People are totally oblivious to them, and in fact, some people call them sky rats or something.
Pests, yes.
And they're not. They're the essence of the beach. I mean, look at it. So somewhere here, okay, right here is my piping plover. I call it green on yellow green. I've been seeing this bird in this spot since 2003.
Well, he's an old friend.
Yeah, I know him well. The birds are abundant, but I want to get across to people, each one of those birds actually has some individual mode in life, and they're not just milling around en masse.
Right.
That nature has a little plan for them, and things are declining, and my contribution is to help people be aware of that, and maybe they'll do something about it.
Well, after 33 years, this is really your beach, and these birds are really your friends.
That's right.
Thank you very much for introducing us to them and to bringing us out here to your home.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining me on my Port Aransas Island adventure. In Port Aransas, people live on island time. With its miles of beaches, warm waters, and blue skies, it's an ideal place to slow down, take it easy, and enjoy life. But Port Aransas is more than a beach. The barrier island it resides on and the waters that surround it are natural treasures. Hundreds of species of birds, animals, and marine life thrive here, as well as folks who came for thousands of reasons, forgot their way home. They stayed for the scenic beauty, the small town lifestyle, or perhaps to become someone different. There's a scent of carefree freedom in the breeze here. And in our uptight, overloaded, stressed out world, Port Aransas is a breath of fresh air we all need. Till next time, this is Joseph Rossetto reminding you of the words of Mark Twain. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. Happy traveling.
Travel Scope is made possible by DK Eyewitness Travel Guides. DK City, Country, and Driving Guides feature evocative photos, 3D mapping, and illustrations for key sites and travel itineraries. DK Eyewitness Travel Guides, the guides that show you what others only tell you. And Rosetta Stone, changing the way the world learns languages. For a DVD of today's show, or any of Joseph's Travel Scope adventures, call 888-876-3399 or order online at travelscope.net. You can also email us at tv@travelscope.net or write us at the address on your screen.
Now that we've slowed down in Port Aransas, learn more at travelscope.net, where you can follow my adventures through my e-magazine, blog, and podcasts. Keep in touch, 888-876-3399 or TV@travelscope.net.